But at the end of the day, your brand is what people say about you.
Getting initial traction and then just doubling down on that.
When people purchase your products, they're saying something very specific about themselves.
Welcome to On the Fly.
Have you got anything in your shopping cart for Black Friday so far?
You know, I haven't pulled a ton of triggers yet. I'm getting old, and so my Black Friday, Cyber Mondays are not as exciting, but there's this Gardyn. I believe it's Gardyn. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. So for the people at home that don't, it's basically like this big organic wall of plants that you can get. It's a little pricey. It's in like, I think with the Black Friday discount, it's like a $700 USD purchase. So it's pretty aggressive, but I have this place in my apartment that it's kind of like awkwardly shaped. And so there's not much to put there, but there's a bunch of windows. So yeah, I think I might actually pull the plug on buying a plant wall. If 20-year-old Rabah would have heard me saying that, he would have had a heart attack. But that's the one I have my eye on the most. What about you?
I am in the mindset of gifts. I'm gonna be super organized this year, and on Friday I'm just gonna buy every single gift, kids, Santa presents, wife, in-laws, mother, father. Gonna get it all done on the Friday. Yeah, well, I say that, but you know, I might change my mind. But yeah, that's. I'm not sure. There's nothing really that's caught my eye. I'm a big shoe man, so maybe check out I might check out like Hoka runners. Get a pair of running shoes. It's an exciting time though.
Really interesting story. Hoka is that's a wild one. And for people that also don't know, beautiful Dan and his team, or the majority of his team, is located in Ireland, and we actually in the States celebrate something called Thanksgiving, which I've just now realized. Well, I guess there's one in Canada, but they celebrate it at a different time. But I realized this is a pretty almost exclusively U.S. centric holiday, correct? Because you guys don't care about it.
I mean, we know about it, but we don't necessarily celebrate it, I suppose.
Yeah, which would make sense because it doesn't really apply to any other country besides the States. But it did birth a really, really cool holiday, though, huh?
It is, yeah, but I feel like it's too close to Christmas, so it kind of, I don't know. Do you not feel that it dilutes from the occasion of Christmas a little bit?
You know, candidly, no, I don't, because Thanksgiving, or at least in like the States and in my family, Thanksgiving is really about kind of a lot, like the whole family comes together, if that makes sense, where you know, aunts, uncles, that kind of thing. Whereas a lot of times Christmas is very like first order, usually like immediate family, or maybe you have some people pulling over. So Thanksgiving is kind of meeting all the crazy uncles and aunts, and Christmas is more so like hanging with your family. I don't know, that could just be me, but I don't know. It doesn't, for me, it doesn't take away from that much. I will say though, I had some friends that had birthdays around Christmas, and there's definitely some double dippers out there where this is the Christmas gift and the birthday gift. So,
Yeah,
but no, it doesn't take away too
or you
much.
get a big present, which is
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got to make those dollars go far now, man. You got to make it work.
Rabah, would you please introduce yourself to the Wayflyer audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Rabah Rahil. I was previously CMO at Triple Whale, and then took a few months off, and now I am back in the saddle. CMO over at a company called FERMAT. We are a customer journey optimization platform, so we help you with everything from the offer to the landing page or post-click experience, and then give you some analytics for your creative. So we think of the customer journey as those three parts: the offer, the landing page, and the creative or the hook to get them to the actual landing page. Yeah, so we do a bunch of cool stuff where we'll build everything out. Everything is mobile optimized, so we're really geared towards empowering growth teams looking to acquire customers at a higher rate, first order subscriptions, all sort of cool experimentation. It's been a fun ride. The co-founders are really great. It's always a little awkward though to join in like a Q4 because it's a big moment in the industry, but it's not the best time to blow up a bunch of your sales as a B2B SaaS company, especially in a MarTech stack, because people either don't want to take on the risk, rightfully so, or they just don't have the bandwidth because they're busy preparing, getting the troops ready to go to war for their big kind of couple weeks, months.
Yeah, I can imagine even getting a response from anyone these days. This week in particular is pretty much
Yeah.
impossible. How does Fermat differentiate itself from other landing page apps like Replo and similar ones?
Yeah. Yeah, so we're kind of completely different in the sense that like Replo is really just helping you build that landing page experience where we're not only helping you build the landing page, we essentially build them for you, but we also have a CRO engineer. So I guess the other thing I should preface, we're kind of expensive, not overpriced, but expensive. And so right now we really have a lot of PM product market fit with kind of bigger companies that have more money than time. And so a lot of our clients right now are pretty much growth teams where they have a lot of returning revenue and the marketing team doesn't want to run experiments, doesn't want to touch like the BAU Shopify site. And so we spin up, I mean, for lack of a better word, essentially like micro sites that are either advertorials, videos, etc. And so we can give you these different levers to pull on to find that optimal customer journey. And you get to just kind of keep on testing. So whether it's you want to try and lower your CAC on first order subscriptions or increase conversion rate or AOV. And so we have an account manager that sits across your account as well as that CRO engineer. So we're a little bit more high touched and we're a little bit more closer to the commerce where Replo, again, not a horrible product at all, but it's more kind of down market for people that can still touch the Shopify site, can build their own landing pages, have time to build their own landing pages. We're more of that turnkey solution where you just give us money and we get you learnings, we get you better performance, and we give you amazing reporting to make your boss think you're the smartest person on the planet.
Yeah, you're like the boutique landing page experience rather than the
Yeah.
kind of the Walmart experience, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Where we're going to be more of that Cartier kind of Tiffany's experience, Hermes, where you're going to come in, you're going to have this high touch, and you essentially, for all intents and purposes, you just show up every week to meet with your strategist, and then we tell you the experiments we run, we tell you where you were, where you are, where you're going, and then, like I said, in the background, we have a CRO engineer just sitting across all your landing pages, so you can make sure that you're getting the highest conversion rates. So yeah, it's really interesting. It's definitely to support that cost structure, we definitely have to be up market. But I got to tell you, it's definitely something that is really worthwhile if you do get to that place where you are in that more money than time category.
So leading from that into the kind of the theme of the conversation, you kind of sound like you're uniquely placed to recognize a lot of the work that brands are doing in the lead up to Black Friday and some of the best work that they're doing, some of
Yep.
the strategies that they're building, the funnels that they're creating. Um, I know we wanted to talk about that and talking through some of the good things you've seen and trying to understand the goals for Black Friday for brands. Anything in particular you're seeing or can recommend from looking at Fermat?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest one is understanding what your goal is. So all the companies that we've talked to, it's either get as much revenue as possible or get as efficient as possible in acquiring said revenue. And the difference there is if you have a gifting vertical, and so if you have a brand that has some vector of gifting in it, you can usually get through December pretty well. But a lot of times, what happens is you're just essentially pulling revenue forward from December. So you'll see this massive pop in November, and then you'll have a little bit of a lag in December just because all your super fans have already bought. A lot of people stock up sometimes as well. So if you look at some of the cohorting, it's pretty interesting where these people actually have really high LTVs, but they only buy in kind of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but they're buying a ton. You know what I mean? They might buy essentially a year's worth of product. So I think understanding really the goal and how you back into those economics. The worst thing I've seen is people trying to acquire new customers during Black Friday. I think that is not only a fool's errand, but it's the most expensive time to date, quote unquote. Like you have people like Honda, Paramount, people that are just tossing so much money. So not only is this the most expensive time to buy, but also the corollary is it's the most competitive time to be in the auction. And so you just have less powder to play with. And candidly, a lot of people usually aren't not buying your product because of price. And so there might be some things in there, like again, that Gardyn might be something that I buy that I wouldn't have bought because I have this big purchase. But on the whole, you want to be really cautious about trying to go really hard in the paint on new customers and really craft your offers to ensure that not only are you selling high margins, but you're not giving away that margin to your best clients or customers. And so one of the kind of mistakes, I don't want to say mistake because that sounds a little harsh, but one of the strategies that I think isn't great is when you give your biggest discount to your best customers, because these people are already loving you. They're already going to give you a bunch of money. And so I'm bigger on either like a gift with purchase, or maybe you have some semblance of like an exclusive offer of something that they can buy that's only offered to them. So they feel kind of VIP stuff. But that's something that I just never really understood. And I try and talk people off the ledge. Like, these people love you. They're like, I think of kind of the purchase cycle, and the first purchase is like a date, the second purchase is like an engagement, and third purchase is kind of like a marriage. And when these people are married to you, you don't need to give them these grandiose offers where you cut into your margins. You just need to give them more value. And whether that is, again, bundling with a discount so you get to a certain threshold, whether that's a high margin, high perceived value gift with purchase, something like that makes a lot more sense to me, because I just see people giving 30-40% off to their VIP customers, where it's like you are giving the biggest discount to the people that really don't care about it, because they're going to spend money with you anyways because they love your brand and they love your product.
Yeah, I listened to Common Thread Collective's episode
Yeah,
on
Taylor's a
the
G.
fourth peak of the fourth peak, the four peaks of the
Yep.
fourth peak. And it was basically saying that you should save your best offer for the Cyber Monday, and that's kind of
Yep.
like hoover up all the people who've been like hovering around the website waiting for it, because your best customers, similar to you when you talk about Gardyn, you've had your eye on this sale now for a while, and you're just waiting to run out of the blocks here and grab the
Yep.
product on the Friday, possibly even the Thursday. You're not going to hang around until the Monday and risk something going out of stock that you want. So you're probably set in buying that. So I think there's definitely something to be said for like holding off on your best discount until the very last day of the discounting
Yep.
season, because all your best customers are going to be hovering around the website, and they're going to hoover up the deals on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and you can just squeeze a little bit more margin out of it then. And then maybe you
Yep.
kind of are not happy with the new customer acquisition, then just drive it on the Monday with like your best
Yep.
kind of unmissable deal, I suppose, and see how that goes. So I definitely think that that's something that I kind of learned from listening to that Taylor Holiday episode. I thought was really interesting and definitely makes sense. Even my own psychology of thinking about Black Friday, the things that I really want, I'm going to buy them on Friday.
Yeah, no, I think that's spot on. I'm a big fan of Taylor and CTC's content, especially for Peak Theory, Big Bit. I wrote kind of an ancillary article called Purchasing Moments, which is a corollary essentially to Four Peaks. But no, he's spot on. I think that's absolutely it, and that's a great point. The other thing that I would say too is, because you just sparked something with the out of stock stuff, that's also something that I would do for your best customers, is not necessarily even give them quote unquote better deals, just give them earlier access, where it's like, hey, you guys are in this VIP group. And so that's when I say, when you tier your customers, you really want, like, it is what it is in life. Like, I'm not like a huge elitist, but sometimes there's just categories of people and need to be treated differently. And these VIP people that have given you a whole bunch of money, really, really take care of them. But I don't mean financially. I mean, like, because they don't really care about money. You're in more of a relationship than you are a business and transaction with your evangelists. And so give them value, make them feel special. I have a few friends that are I'm good buddies with Michael at Postpilot, and they're sending out like these beautiful, they have these like 3-panel things, and they're sending these 3-panel, doing direct mail, doing all these cool things just to really make those really tier one customers feel like tier one customers. And again, going back to the whole impetus of this little rant, is those tier one customers, you can get them into exclusive deals, into orders, into things where they get to cut the line. And that can be sometimes more valuable, or more meaningful is probably a better word, than just giving them an extra 5% or something like that. And it's better for your business as well. So it's a win-win.
If you're trying to define these tier one customers, what's kind of the first criteria that you look for? Just the number of
yeah.
or...
No, I'll usually do number of purchase isn't horrible, but I'll usually do some semblance of LTV, maybe like a 2-year LTV or something like that. And then kind of put them into, top third, mid third, lower third. And those would be kind of my 3 tiers. And then when you start to rank them in the distribution as well with your LTVs, you'll start to see kind of, there'll be some categories where it's like, oh man, these are really the top 1%. And then these are our middle kind of core customers. And then these are kind of laggard customers where they purchase once. There's also, if you wanted to get super fancy, there's a analysis model that you can run called RFM. So it's recency, frequency, monetary. So when was the most recent purchase? How much have they spent with the store? Yeah. And how many times, you see recency, when was the first purchase, frequency, how many times have they purchased, monetary, how much have they purchased? And you can do some kind of cool analysis there. That's getting kind of super, super nerdy, but I'm sure some of your Wayflyer listeners are kind of in that nerd camp. And so you can do some cool RFM analysis to also rank your customers in terms of, again, that recency, frequency, monetary model.
Would I be right in saying you're valuing, you think like the most important marketing channel over this series would be, over the season would be email, if you're talking about not so much focusing on acquiring customers, but on that kind of white glove treatment for your best customers, but then also using that margin to give to your existing customers or the people that have bought your product before?
Yeah, I'm definitely a big email guy now. To be fair though, I think that Black Friday, Cyber Monday, again, going back to what your goal is. So I've seen people, this is kind of one of those, like, it depends, like whatever your goal is, but I can speak from my experience. So, excuse me, when I was running some accounts, one of the accounts that I would run, I would basically, so usually when you run an account, you either have a hard cap or an efficiency cap. So I would usually spend close to my monthly cap all the way up to Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And then I'd essentially just cut all the ads off. And so I would get all the spend in, but then to your point, like I would have like a semblance of like a little bit of retargeting, but like if the budget's 100%, my retargeting might have been 10%. And then the rest of that 90% went away because I overspent it in the month running up to it. Because you can think of it almost like buckets. Like you really want to fill those buckets up to then drip on these people, whether it be through email, SMS. Be cautious with retargeting, but it definitely can work. So that's kind of one of the strategies I've seen. I've seen other strategies where people just smash ads. And again, it depends on what your goal is. I'm just really hesitant because there's a certain aspect of what in specific, what do like meta ads do? They're really good at generating demand. You don't really need to generate demand in Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Like everybody's all hot and bothered. You know what I mean? They're drunk on a bender in Vegas looking for their life partner. And so all you need to do is grab that beautiful butterfly net and just as efficiently as possible scoop up that revenue. And so I've never worked with a heavy gifting vector brand, and so I'm sure there's a different strategy there because all the brands I've worked with, we would have a monster pop in November, so we'd have monster comps like year over year for November, and then the whole goal was just basically not die in December because you can quasi acquire new customers a little bit in December, but again, it's not as bad as Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but it's still like you want to be really cautious in terms of your spending.
Yeah, when you say don't die in December, you spoke before we started recording about what to do after Black Friday. How are you? You've got
Yep.
this big cash injection now. You're probably low on stock. Come next Tuesday, when hopefully this podcast will be out in the world and people will be able to do it.
Let's
What are
go.
you focusing on? What are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm focusing on really, again, if it is, I have some gifting vectors, definitely try and make some offers there. And then
Make some
honestly,
offers post Cyber Monday coming in.
for if you have a gifting vertical, so like this is something where it's like for example with Amber or something, you might have very focused marketing for one-to-one. And this is also something kind of a little tangent here, but why a post-purchase survey can be so important, because you can understand if people are actually buying for themselves or for a person. And so it might not inform you this year, but that's something that I would highly recommend getting on your website, on your Shopify store, is being able to understand why people are purchasing. Are they purchasing for themselves? Are they purchasing for a significant other? Are they purchasing for a family member? And so if you do have a heavy gifting vertical, you kind of get a second swing, because these people have satiated themselves and now they're going to go after. I think everybody aspires to be as prudent and on it as you gift shopping for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but I know I never do. I am so lazy, and I'm like 2 weeks before Christmas. I'm like, fuck. I whoops. I guess I got to break out the Amex and start firing stuff away, and hope there's maybe I'll send him a picture of the thing because it might not get there on time. So basically, what I mean by again. I hate to give you the it depends, but a lot of these answers are contingent upon the goal of the business and the cash position. But December can be a little bit of a siren song for a lot of people. So I just recommend understanding your economics and understanding your customers and market, and kind of going from there, because you can still do a little bit of work in December, but it just always looks paltry to November, obviously, because you for most brands outside of fitness and supplements, Q4 in specific, November is usually the biggest month of the year. So again, December, have fun, definitely connect with your users. If you have a gifting vertical, definitely shift into those. And then there's also one more strategy that, again, it's contingent on your business, but that can be a good time to discount without having some brand degradation, where it's like, oh, it's a Christmas discount or something. So the reason I say that is it gets into a nice fire sale. So if you're in apparel, or if you're in something that is socially perishable, where you need to move this, you can do that in Christmas without being seen as a discounter. So if you do have a nicer brand, you can get away with some Christmas discounts without people thinking that you're a wish.com or something, where you're just constantly competing on price versus value.
Yeah, I think even like as you're saying there, probably as soon as like Cyber Monday ends, you want to be tweaking your messaging. If you are in that gifting vertical, like looking at tweaking your
Yes.
messaging, even if that's like changing your homepage or something like that in your website, just
Yep.
like now, okay, now I understand that like most people are buying stuff this season for other people. So let all our messaging, our ads, both externally on our socials, on our website, to reflect that mindset now, and see if we can, if that adds to be, if that makes us better at selling this product for gifts. Um,
Yep.
and even like if you'd really pre-planned it as well, and you had some sort of like really cool gift box or bundling box, beautifully
Yep.
ready to go on the 1st of December,
Nailed
you
it.
planned it. The hype dies down, but in your back pocket, you've got this really good gifting offer that you're ready to kind of put out there and get the momentum going up again. I see like cosmetics brands always do that like really,
Yep.
really well. My wife works for an Irish cosmetics brand, and what they did really well, I think it was last year, they did like an advent calendar. So
Yeah.
Black Friday
Love it.
dies down, but then you're like, here's an advent calendar. Open the window every day of December, and there's
Love
a
that.
new little I don't know, lip
Yeah.
stuff or whatever. And
Brilliant.
like a great idea, and just gets that hype going again. And how can you not buy that as a gift for somebody? You know?
It's so brilliant. It's so brilliant. And the only other thing that I will add is um, really highlight the timing scarcity of like, hey, X is the cutoff date to get packages for Christmas, or and really push that kind of scarcity of time, where it's like, dude, you need to get your stuff ordered now. You need to get your stuff ordered now if you want to, get a hug from your wife or a kiss from your husband or whatever it is, because if you don't order it by X, you're not going to get it in time for the holidays. So that can also be a nice little lever to pull on to expedite that decision. But that advent calendar is a brilliant idea. That is spectacular marketing. And what I love about that too is, what people don't understand is, every time you kind of like, so trust is built through exposure. And so every time you keep touching this thing and it makes you happy, like there's just this beautiful mechanism that you build up inside of you, where you just, I want to give this brand more money because they made me so happy, even though that advent calendar isn't necessarily, and it's also kind of a really cool, like sneaky sampler also in an interesting way. So anyways, kudos to your wife's company, because that's a brilliant idea. Fully on board.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like it's definitely, you appreciate the effort of the advent calendar. So you're like, I know, what, I'm going to buy one. I appreciate the genius of it.
Yep.
And moving on then from December, would you say like a straight switch back in the messaging in January, playing into that new year, new you kind of buzz? So you're just like recognizing the time of year and the mindset that the consumer is in, and tweaking all that messaging.
Yeah, you're spot on. So again, I think it's easier to ride waves than create them. You definitely don't get to ride the wave all the time. Like in the summer, the joke is that's when real marketers are made, because it's a lot harder to generate sales, because you don't have a lot of these kind of natural Western holidays or just Western zeitgeist moments. But yeah, I mean, January, if the new year you use, fantastic. If you're in the subs industry, that's your Black Friday, Cyber Monday kind of thing. January is usually the biggest month, January, February. So I used to work for supplements, and our Q1 was almost always bigger than our Q4, marginally, but it was bigger. And so I would just really focus on, that basically what you just said. The other thing too is I like to plan out. So the 4 peaks theory, and then purchasing moments, we can link them in the show notes. But I like to plan out my year. And so you have your year, and then you can look at your revenue curves and understand where you're going to get the boost from those kind of calendar moments that are already built into, the Western zeitgeist. And then in those dips, it's usually nice to either have some sort of crazy offer, or if you do have some sort of product innovation velocity, drop a new product. Then that's a really cool way to get things at. Or if you are in kind of one of those valleys, or even in January, get something that is you can nest yourself into that person's life. So whether it is a supplement or toothpaste or something like that, and then you have some sort of like challenge or something where you can get some community vector of people bought in to do the thing. I find that that's really, really productive, being able to have that community bent, but you also can have some sort of ancillary product that isn't necessarily core to your business, but empowers them to do or consume their product or something like that. So for example, like if you are a supplements brand, have a gift with offer with a shaker, or maybe you have like a workout calendar, or you have some sort of online yoga class or something where you understand the job to be done of that person hiring your collagen is to get healthier, is to look prettier. So maybe you have like makeup classes or beauty or something like that. So I think that's also another angle there where you can get people more involved in the business that isn't necessarily core to your actual business, but it builds this nice halo effect that drives more purchasing and more consumption of your product.
Yeah, it's really interesting. We're just thinking of ideas for my own product in January, what you just said there.
Exactly. I mean, for you, because you guys have that super clean, like running look, I would have some semblance of like a running club or a running calendar or some sort of like Strava competition where it's like who could run the fastest 5 mile, post it, and the one that does gets a free, amber eyewear. There's things around the actual product that you can do that drives engagement, excitement, and consumption. And then that consumption should usually lead to a repurchase or a new purchase.
Nice. I know you got to run off on your flight, so I'm really conscious of that.
Well, I would say the Black Friday, Cyber Monday, it's an absolute blessing to all the marketers out there. So definitely take advantage of it. But at the same time, understand that the economics and the margins of your business matter. And again, this is all dependent on your goals, but top line revenue can be very, very seductive. But at the end of the day, you can't, cash the check of top line revenue. You can only withdraw from the actual net profits of your company. So just understand kind of those mechanisms and just be economically savvy. And, if you kind of don't know where to go or don't know where to start, Dan actually has a couple great essays on the Wayflyer blog about Black Friday, Cyber Monday discounting, as well as what to do after that. So definitely go check that out. But yeah, this is one of my favorite parts of the year, especially now that I'm not in the running accounts anymore. Because when you're running accounts, it's super stressful, man. I remember being at the Thanksgiving table. You're just refreshing. You wake up on Thursday, like, how are the accounts doing? Are ads getting delivered? And so I don't have that stress anymore. But yeah, wishing everybody out there well. And I hope their Black Friday, Cyber Monday was awesome. And I hope December will be even
And
better.
I just want to give a shout out to that fire pit company who are sitting pretty coming into Black Friday now as well with 100% organic sales probably.
Yeah, I know. Interesting. So I guess we can wrap up on that because I do have to go. But was that a good ad or bad ad? So for people that don't know, actually, I'll just set the stage. So Snoop Dogg posted on his socials that he was giving up smoke, which is for people that don't know Snoop Dogg. He is definitely a heavy consumer and advocate of cannabis, and so that was kind of a shock through the world. And then I believe it's Solo Stove, right? I think it's leading up to a Super Bowl commercial. It has to be. That's my
It'd be hard to top that one.
kind of
It'd be hard to top that one with this even.
yeah. I think it's leading up to a Super Bowl commercial, but I've seen a lot of marketers say that it's one of those things where marketers love it, but it's not as impactful for the consumers. And I can kind of see that. I don't know. What's your take?
Yeah, I can see that. I think like marketers appreciate it and they think it's clever. But there is a sense, I have like, friends who, might smoke the odd time or something like that. And they're like questioning their life choices now because the biggest advocate of cannabis is now quitting. And they probably thought it was for personal reasons or family reasons and probably actually felt bad for him because they're probably fans of him and were worried about him.
Yes.
And now when it's bred to be a marketing ploy, it just feels doesn't feel right to me.
That's a good take. I didn't think of that. That's a really good take. I didn't have that, but that's a fantastic take. If I had somebody that I like looked up to, idolized, and then I thought they had some sort of, personal falling out, and then comes out it's a gotcha. That's a really good take. There's a vector of betrayal there that doesn't sit with me. That's a good take.
There is,
yeah, I like
because
that.
he is probably the most revered person within that community.
Yes.
Not the stove community, the cannabis community. So, yeah, I don't know.
Well, maybe he's making the pivot into the stoves.
I like Snoop Dogg, and I like the idea. I think it's extremely clever. It's probably going to do what they wanted it to do, but at the same time, I don't want to see every brand and celebrity start doing shit like that because you won't even know what's what anymore.
That's a fair point. And interestingly enough, Cello Stove's actually killing it, but they're getting absolutely murdered in their stock. And so it's really interesting to see their economic output has not been rewarded. But dude, this is fun. We got to do it again. You got to come on mine now. This is the cheesy. You had me on yours. Now I got to have you on mine kind of pitch.
Yeah, I gotta. If that was to happen, I'd have to do a bit of practice before we'll have to have a little schedule and stuff and do a bit more prep. But
no, you nailed it. This is awesome, dude. I really appreciate you having me on, and yeah, good luck with your Black Friday Cyber Monday with Amber, and yeah, man, this is great. Really enjoyed it.
Nice one. Have a safe trip. Thanks for jumping on.